There's one question about yourself you've never quite been able to answer. And that's the strange part, because you can answer that exact same question about almost anyone else, usually within minutes of meeting them. By the end of this, you're going to know what that question is. And the one thing a whole life of noticing has quietly cost you, the thing almost nobody with this ability ever names. But first, a thing that happens to you and doesn't happen to most people. You're sitting in a room, everyone's talking, laughing, having a normal time, and you catch something. A face that dropped for half a second before it caught itself. A laugh that landed a beat too late. The way someone said, "No, it's fine," with their shoulders instead of their voice. Nobody else in the room noticed. You did. And now you're stuck with it, because you can't unsee the thing once you've seen it. For most of your life, this has been your quiet advantage. You knew the couple was going to split before they did. You felt the layoff coming while everyone else was making weekend plans. You read the email and knew, instantly, that the friendly tone was covering something. You're not guessing, and you've been right too many times for it to be luck. You read people in 10 minutes that take everyone else months, and it's kept you out of trouble you never saw coming. So people come to you, they send you the screenshot and ask what it means because they know you'll catch what they can't. People trust your read on a person the way they'd trust a weather report, and you earned that over years by being right, and it makes you feel sharp, a little ahead, like you're watching life in higher resolution than everyone around you. That feeling is real. You haven't overestimated it. This is rare wiring, and you are exactly as perceptive as you think you are. Sit in that for a second before the rest of this complicates it. Because not everyone who notices everything is the same person. Some people notice because they're genuinely fascinated by people, collecting small human details the way you'd collect anything you love. Some notice because somewhere along the line, being the perceptive one became how they earned their place. They weren't the loudest or the funniest, so they became the one who understood. Insight was the thing nobody could take from them. And some notice because they need to see it coming. Spot the problem early, and you never have to be caught off guard. Surprise feels like losing. You probably already know which one you are. But here's what all of them share. Seeing is not the same as participating. And that gap between seeing a moment and being inside it quietly costs you 3 things most people who have it never notice. So watch for them in yourself. The first one shows up at that dinner where you caught the dropped face. While everyone else was just having dinner, you were working, scanning, decoding, filing things away. You went home with a full report on everyone in that room, who was off, who was performing, who said one thing and meant another. And somewhere in all that, there's a detail you skipped. You weren't really in the dinner. You were watching it. You are the most perceptive person in every room you have ever felt alone in. Let that one stay there for a second. Because the more you observe a moment, the less you're inside it. You become the person at the edge of the room, the witness, never quite the guest. And there's a loneliness built into that. When you're always the one reading the room never reads you back. People feel watched by you, even when you're being kind, and it makes them, very quietly, a little careful around you. You've noticed that, right? How people go slightly guarded with you and you can't figure out why. It's because you're hard to perform for. And most people want to be allowed to perform a little. That's the first cost. Here's the second, and it's quieter. You can describe everyone in your life with almost embarrassing accuracy. But seeing someone clearly and being close to them are 2 different things. You can have a perfect map of a person and have never once let them surprise you. Because to be surprised, you'd have to stop predicting. You'd have to drop the radar for a second and just let them be whoever they're going to be. And dropping the radar is the one thing you almost never do. There's a reason for that. The mind is basically a prediction machine, always guessing what's next, so nothing can catch it off guard. Yours just runs louder than most, all the time, with no off switch. And when you can predict almost everything, you slowly lose the ability to be amazed by anything. You see the ending while everyone else is still enjoying the beginning. That's not wisdom. That's a quiet distance from your own life. And there's that flat little feeling that comes with it. The one you know. The feeling of being right. You told your friend that guy was bad news, they waved you off, and 3 months later it falls apart exactly the way you said. And instead of feeling vindicated, You just feel tired. Now you're the person standing in the wreckage going, yeah, I saw that. Being right and being unheard is its own specific kind of lonely. That's two. And then there's the last one, the one that actually does the damage. Once people learn that you see things, they quietly hand you the job. You become the unofficial early warning system in every group you're in, the one who's supposed to catch when someone's struggling or a plan's about to fall apart. Nobody assigned you this. You just kept being right, so everyone else stopped looking, and slowly you went from the person who notices to the person who's responsible for noticing. That's a heavier thing than it sounds. Okay, lighter for a second. You've earned it. You've ruined movies for yourself, haven't you? You call the twist in the first 10 minutes, you say it out loud, and the whole room hates you. You read into a one-word text for 40 minutes. You can tell someone's mood from the way they typed, okay. You know a friend is about to ask for a favor before they've finished saying hello. You've watched someone leave you on read and reconstructed their whole afternoon just to explain why. And the funniest part is, you've learned to hide it. You catch the whole thing in a flash, then sit there and pretend to slowly figure it out so people don't get weirded out by how fast you got there. You've been dimming yourself in real time for years just to seem normal. Now find this memory, a time you were the only one who knew something was wrong. A room full of people, a celebration maybe, and underneath it you could feel that something had already cracked, a marriage that was already over, a friendship that had quietly died, and you smiled and ate the cake and said the right things, and the whole time there was this hum in your chest, this quiet knowing, and nowhere to put it. You couldn't say it. Who would you even tell? So you carried it home and set it down next to all the other things you've noticed and never told anyone. That's the weight people don't see, not the seeing, the carrying. So go back to that question, the one you've never been able to answer about yourself, the one you can answer about everyone else in minutes. Here it is. Who are you when no one is being read? You don't know, and you've never known. Because the moment there's a person in front of you, the radar comes on, and you become the watcher again. And here's the cost I promised you, the thing almost nobody names. Somewhere a long time ago, you decided that being caught off guard was the worst thing that could happen to you. That if you read the room first, it could never read you. And it worked. Nobody has ever really caught you off guard. Nobody has ever really reached you either. You can't unlearn this. Anyone who tells you to just be less observant is asking you to go blind on purpose. You can't, and you shouldn't. But there's a difference between seeing and bracing. And maybe the move was never to see less. Maybe it's to let one person, once, walk up behind the radar and surprise you. To be, for one evening, a normal, unguarded, slightly foolish person in the room instead of the one quietly watching it. You can see almost everything. The only thing you've never let yourself see is what happens when you stop looking. And if any of this felt like it was about you, that's because you're not the only one who's been standing at the edge of the room, reading it. There are more of us out here than you'd think.